All right, guys, thank you for joining. And in this webinar, we're going to talk about 7 quick fix hacks to supercharge your resume and avoid unintentionally misrepresenting yourself. And for those of you who do not know me, my name is Jennifer Tardy and I live in Maryland. I'm from Maryland. So let's get things warmed up a little bit. Can you let me know in the chat section where you are joining from? I'm very interested in knowing. Okay, so hello, Tina from New York. We have Trevor from Pennsylvania, Alan from California. How are you, Alan? We have Daniel from Melbourne. I'm glad you could join. We have Denise from Singapore. Wait, when did our message get all the way to Singapore? I love it, and so welcome, Denise from Singapore. Hello, hello, and many of you may already know me through our Career Success YouTube channel, where I shell out a lot of career advice for free, or maybe you know me through our But What About Me podcast, where I get to interview some pretty awesome experts in their fields, and they get to offer career advice to all of you. And or maybe you know me through our flagship program, which is the Offer Magnet Job Seeker program. Maybe you know me through there. I don't know. But I tell you, there's a lot going on over here in the career success world. Now, for those who may not know me, I want to take a quick second just to tell you a little bit about me. I'm a part of a select cohort of LinkedIn expert career coaches, and we work with LinkedIn. We work with their users to help them to create top-notch resumes, excellent LinkedIn profiles, and to support their career search in any way that we can. And so I have 15 years of experience in human resources, specifically recruiting, and I've interviewed and I've coached thousands of job seekers. So I'm also a graduate of Virginia Tech. Go Hokies! I went there 2 times over to get my bachelor's in management and also my MBA. And so I've received lots of certifications. The professional HR, I'm a certified diversity professional, certified diversity executive. I'm a certified life coach, and I'm a certified diversity recruiter. Now, in addition, one of the reasons why that makes me unique is that I have an understanding, an in-depth understanding of career needs at the micro level for underrepresented populations or underrepresented groups. And so when I speak of underrepresented groups, I'm talking about people of color, Asian, Black, Latino. I'm talking about women, veterans, the LGBTQ plus community. I'm talking about people with disabilities, and I even add in millennials. And this is why people decide to come and work with me, because they love the fact that I acknowledge that there's a difference. When you go to other career coaches, it's a one size fits all. This is the one strategy and it's going to work for everyone, without there being an acknowledgement of unique differences at a micro level. So I understand what different populations face by way of challenges and the areas that they must navigate in order to have career success. And so people work with me in different ways. One of the ways that people work with me is through one-on-one coaching, which I do I take very limited number of clients because it takes a lot of time to do one-on-one coaching. So my clients tend to be executives looking to further their career. I do group coaching through our career success programs, but then I also have courses, and I mentioned one of them a second ago for you. So something that is pretty cool is that I know, just because of my whole makeup, the life coach, the recruiting expert, and being able to understand diversity and inclusion. I know insider tips and secrets that will help you to know what recruiters are looking for overall. As a matter of fact, one of my first clients, I love her. She went into a brand new field. She did a career pivot, and she has increased her base salary by $52,000. And so when I first met her, when she and I first connected as a client, she had just lost her job, and she was making 40,000. And over the course of 3.5 years, she's gone from 40,000 to 52,000. So she's up to about $92,000, and she is doing, excuse me, she is doing a lovely job. A lovely job. Let me get some water real quick. And I love watching it happen. As a matter of fact, if you visit me on LinkedIn under Jennifer Tardy, you'll see lots of different client testimonials of people who have actually worked with me and they've seen their own results. Like, for instance, you'll see Latanya on there who came to me because she was about to go into an interview and she needed some prep help. So we did that specific type of ad hoc coaching to get her ready. And she is really amazing. She just needed to know how to answer a few questions and know that she was amazing. And then she went in, she knocked it out, she landed the dream job. And she talks about it in there as well too. And then Anne was a longer term one-on-one coaching client of mine. And she was such a pleasure to work with. What I appreciated about Anne is that she knew her why. She knew why she wanted to go from where she was to where she always wanted to be. And her motivation was her daughter. And so being able to watch Anne's success happen was so amazing to me, to know that her daughter being the twinkle in her eye and her daughter watching her mommy land that awesome new job where, you know, the whole family had to relocate to take the job. But it was a beautiful process. And so Anne was a great client. Plus, Precious, she was such an awesome client as well too. She and I still talk and converse today. I'm so happy that she loves her new job. It's actually going to be a year that she would have been at that job pretty soon. So is that still considered a new job? Either way, I am extremely, extremely happy for her. And then there was Dr. Danport. He was such a pleasure to work with. We spent some time reorganizing his resume because he had so much good experience in a lot of different areas. And so we needed to hone in on the exact narrative that he wanted people to recognize him for, and then build a resume all around that. We got there. He was so happy. Just like Mr. Jackson, he was looking for employment at the time. What I noticed is that he had a lot of accolades. I mean, he had turned a lot of things around, made a lot of things happen. He just never talked about it. And that happens with us sometimes. We're so humble that we don't talk about what our accomplishments are. So we found creative ways that he felt extremely comfortable with to show his innovation, his leadership, and his accolades. So, also without it feeling way too overt and without it making him uncomfortable along the way. So he got a job pretty quickly, I think within a matter of a few weeks or so. So I was truly, truly, truly excited for Charles. So now, today, as I mentioned before, we're going to talk about 7 quick fix hacks to supercharge your resume and avoid unintentionally misrepresenting yourself. You're not getting a job because you're not qualified. I think I said that correctly. It's not that you're not qualified. You're not getting calls from recruiters because you are unintentionally misrepresenting yourself on your resume. The more and more clients that I see, the more I see these patterns. And so in this webinar, I'm going to do exactly what I've promised. I'm going to show you 7 quick fix hacks that will really make you stand out. And I use the word unintentionally on purpose. We just don't know that we're doing these things. And because I've seen these patterns, I'm going to talk about some of the most common patterns that I've seen. But I want to be upfront with you. At the very end of this webinar, after I've delivered on my promise, I am going to invite you to work directly with me if it makes sense for you. If it's not something for you, or if it's not the right time, trust me, that is perfectly fine. It has to be the right time for you. Now, if it's not the right time for you, then take the free hacks. Take all 7 free hacks, write them down, keep them. It is all for you to use, and keep me posted on your success along the way. But for everyone else, be sure to stay through all the way through until the very end, because you are going to see some very, very exciting stuff. So I want to share with you a few statistics that I really want you, what I really want you to do is talk to me in the chat box, and don't hold back. These statistics are from ERE.com, and it's from a survey that they did. So, for instance, the average job opening attracts 250 resumes. So let me ask you, how many of you have been consistently submitting resumes, but you haven't heard anything back from the recruiter? Go ahead, tell me in the chat section. Okay, I'm seeing some me, that's me with an exclamation point. Me too, yes. Okay, I see that. And my clients typically feel the same way as well too. As a matter of fact, when you look at this next statistic, it says that only 4 to 6 applicants will be called in for an interview for each job opening. And one of the conversations that I've had with people by the time that they actually come and talk to me is that they feel that when they're submitting resumes, that when they're submitting their resume for a job, that it's going straight into this black hole, and they never know, what's happening to that resume. And so that's one of the reasons why they come to me, to figure out what they can do next. Another statistic is that recruiters spend an average of 6 to 7 seconds scanning a resume before deciding to call the candidate. And I've actually been talking to clients before, and I will look at their resume, and I will show them, because I've been a recruiter and I've trained recruiters, I've led recruiting teams, and I know exactly how recruiters are reading your resume and what your resume actually says to them. And I'll say, they're looking at this, I wonder what this means. And I'll show them how recruiters are actually viewing their resume. So here's my question to you. Do you think that your resume will make it past the 7-second recruiter screen? Type it in the comment, in the chat box below. Let me know. Okay. I see some of you are saying that you think it will. Some of you, okay, so it's a little mix. Okay. All right. Okay. So thank you for sharing that in the chat box. All right. So how do you capture a recruiter's attention in 7 seconds? So in a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, what is your confidence level that you can capture a recruiter's attention? So you told me that you could in the last chat. In this one, tell me on a scale from 1 to 10. Give me some of your responses. Okay, so we have a 7. So on a scale from 1 to 10, someone put a 3 with a sad face, a sad emoticon beside it. Someone said, I'd say an 8. And then someone said, 5. Okay, so some of you are pretty confident. Some of you, not that much. Trust me, I know that the one thing that we lack and cannot generate more of is our time. Nobody wants to spend all of their time submitting for all these applications and not hearing anything back. I get it. I understand. And that's the one thing that I try to help my clients when it comes to cutting through all of that fluff along the way. So let's talk about something for a second. Maybe you are wondering, is this me? Like, do I fit into these experiences? And so I tried to create a slide for you that talks about if this webinar is the right webinar for you. You've tried to fix your resume on your own, but it's still not getting calls back from recruiters, then this webinar is for you. If you're getting calls, maybe it's for positions to which you're overqualified, or it doesn't even match your current salary. So I have some clients that come to me and say, yeah, recruiters are calling me, but they're calling me for the wrong types of jobs. And my first indication is, well, what does it say in your resume? What is your resume saying to that recruiter based on what you're looking for? Perhaps you've been overlooked a time or two for a promotion. Then I would ask, how is your resume selling you inside of your organization? Or you've had enough experience to be a manager, but you haven't quite gotten to that level just yet. So this is for you because you are the type of person that I'm talking to in this webinar today. Now, what I really want you to pay attention to also is, how would I know if this is not for me, if this webinar is not for me? And I'm going to be very candid and I'm going to tell you with no fluff around it. This webinar is not for you if you are lazy. As a matter of fact, you can go ahead and jump off the call right now. If you are not willing to take these hacks that I'm absolutely giving to you as a gift and implement them, then why even waste your own time? It could be spent doing something that you actually want to do. If you're looking for someone to rewrite your resume for you, that's not what this webinar is. No one can do the contents of your resume more justice than you. Remember, you lived this stuff. You lived what you're actually writing in your resume. This is not for you if you sold into the myth of pretty resume templates. It makes me cringe sometimes when I see those bulk, like you can get 50 or 20 resume templates designed for you and it's going to guarantee that you're going to get that job. That's a myth. Recruiters are actually used to seeing resumes organized in one certain way. They don't really care too much about if you have different colors and different fonts and things in your resume. It is the content. If recruiters are spending 7 seconds, they're not looking at how pretty your resume is. They're trying to look for the content and key things in it. So do not be fooled by getting resume templates. If that's something that you're sold for, if that's something that you're sold on that you think is going to make you successful, this probably isn't for you, because I don't give away dozens and dozens of templates. There's really one model that works. Now, this is not for you if you're unwilling to invest in yourself. You think you can go at it alone, or maybe you're the person that thinks that your aunt's cousin's first cousin removed is the right person to update your resume because they just got a new job 2 years ago. And I hear this all the time, that, I'll have a family member that can tell me what needs to be in my resume, but their family member, they just happen to get a job on their own, but it doesn't mean that it's a one-size-fits-all type of approach. And so I tell people all the time that it's not other career coaches who are my competition. It's the client who believed that they could go at it on their own. And then by the time they get to me, we have to undo a lot of what was done, both emotionally and physically on the resume. And we have to start on a different level. Okay, so if this is not for you, I'll pause for a second so that you're able to exit the webinar. All right, so for everybody else who's still here, let's keep it moving. One of my most favorite quotes that I came up with is this: how you show up in your own life affects how you land in your career, and how you land in your career impacts the way you show up in life. So for instance, if you don't feel like you're worth it, then you're not going to invest in yourself the same way one would if they felt like they were worth it. If you do not invest in yourself in a way that gets you ahead in your career, then trust me, your pockets are going to reflect it. Your financial situation will reflect your lack of investment, which will ultimately impact the way you're able to show up in your own life. And believe me, you deserve to have a good life. Everyone deserves to have a good life. Believe me. And so another thing that I always tell people is show me your resume and I will show you exactly who you think you are. So check out this picture. The picture to the left, this was me back in 2006. You know how you know how people are showing those pictures from like 10 years ago? This was me back in 2006. And there were so many things that I did not understand about how I was showing up in my career and how that impacted my life. Now, my absolute lowest moment was when my supervisor told me that she was leaving. You know, congratulations to her. But keep in mind, my supervisor and I were doing the same job, and I was almost like an extension of her. We were both trainers. But when her position became vacant and open, I just knew that I was a shoo-in for that job. But someone else got picked over me to take her position, and I had to train my new manager to be my manager. And so that opened my eyes to how I was selling myself, which was that I was selling myself short. It also opened my eyes to the fact that I needed to learn how to see myself as a leader in order to portray that I'm ready for leadership to other people. We cannot see the real image of who we are and how great we are holistically because of how we see ourselves in the moment. In order for this to work, we've got to shift our thinking. The problem is that we create our actual resume. We create our resume based on how we see ourselves in the moment. And if you do not see yourself as qualified or great, your resume will also reflect that too. And that was what I was doing back in 2006. And I had to shift that thinking to go from that picture to what I'm doing today. So I just wanted to share that with you, my rock bottom moment, because I've been there and I understand how it feels. Now, I also want to share with you 4 other examples, like real life examples, real clients, but these are not their pictures. So I don't want you to think that those are their pictures that you're looking at. So I had one client who was all over the place. He had so many different interests, and his resume reflected his inability to show the world a defined career path. I could instantly tell that his issue wasn't his resume. The real issue that I needed him to address, or the real question I needed him to answer, was this: what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's okay to have that conversation no matter what our ages are. And so once I actually had him hone in to what is that career path he wanted, we were able to take his resume and focus it in to show how all of the experiences that he's gotten made him ready for this one type of position that he actually wanted to do. And that was very, very helpful for him. Now another client who saw herself, she saw herself as a lifelong admin, even though she desired a promotion. So keep in mind, she saw herself one way, but she had a different desire. So she stayed in the same administrative position for almost a decade before she decided to come and talk to me. And even though she had been long ago well prepared for the next level, because this was her thinking, this also reflects how she portrayed herself in the resume. She kept using powerful administrative words and examples instead of higher level words. So I had to show her that she was way more than an admin. She was at more of a specialist level, and she needed to begin to use specialist level words if that's the level that she wanted to go to. One more client who saw herself as not being ready for leadership. I had to tell her that the reason why in every job that she went into, she was very critical of the leadership and how they made different decisions. And I had to tell her that the reason why she's feeling that way is because she should be sitting in that room at that table making decisions with them. But the way that she viewed what a leader's competencies needed to be and the way that she viewed her own competencies, they weren't a match. And so I had to make sure that she saw herself as a leader first, so that she began to reflect those things on her resume. And there were so many things that she actually left out of her resume, like having a master's degree, like having certifications, because she didn't think that it would help. So we had to work on switching her image of her readiness first before actually working on her resume. And then another person that I wanted to talk about, I had one very well accomplished attorney who would, she would sprinkle accomplishments all throughout her resume and hidden messages instead of stating them boldly. But that was a lot like the way that she actually carried herself through life. She was completely humble, more of an introvert. And so we had to get her to a place where she could boldly express how accomplished and experienced she actually was, to herself and to other people who were reading her resume. Now, let me ask you, did you find yourself in any of these examples? Odds are you probably did. So I want you to know that our resume is usually our first time sharing with the world who we believe we are, what we believe we are, and what we believe we've accomplished. This can show up when we're writing our own bio too, that is true, but typically our resume is the first time we're saying, hey world, here's what you're about to get. So in this webinar, that's why we're talking about, if you're showing the world who you are, I want to make sure that you represent yourself very well, and that it's not you looking into a broken mirrored image of you, but you looking into the actual image. So I'd be interested, as we go through these 7 ways, I'd be very, very interested in knowing which one most resonates with you. Very interested. So keep chatting with me. I see them coming through. I can't always stop to talk, but I see them. So keep chatting with me in the chat box. Okay, so the first way that we unintentionally misrepresent ourselves in our resume is that we do not use enough powerful, action-oriented, success-focused, leader-like buzzwords throughout our resume. And that is very important. Don't hold back in this area. Recruiters are watching how you describe your own knowledge, skills, and abilities. There are particular buzzwords that recruiters are waiting to see. So here are a few of them. I just want to share some of them with you. So for example, eliminated, advocated, bolstered, achieved. You drove sales in this area. You exceeded expectations in this area. You engaged leaders. You elicited, you spearheaded, you administered, you decreased. Did you decrease in inefficiency? Did you decrease cost somewhere? You centralized something, you generated something, you maximized, configured, streamlined, you engineered something, you optimized something, you installed, programmed, you accelerated. Those are powerful, action-oriented, success-focused, leader-like buzzwords that I'm talking about. And so whenever you're talking about what you've actually done, make sure that you're considering some of those action-oriented words. The second thing that we do to unintentionally misrepresent ourselves is we spend more time talking about what we do each day as opposed to talking about what we own overall. So it's okay if a part of what you do each day in this example is filing papers, but you don't need to list that on your resume. Perhaps you're actually filing papers because it's a necessary evil for a major program or a major initiative for which you have oversight. So make sure that in your resume, you're talking about your oversight, the program that you own. And then in another example, you may be the note taker on a project team. That's fine. That may be your role on a larger project team. But rather than talking about your note taking, be sure to actually talk more about how you're on a project team. And if you are asked to be or tapped to be on that project team, then you need to talk about that as well too. Can anyone relate to that? Okay, I see guilty as charged. You have a point. Gosh, I didn't realize that until now. And I'm looking, someone else said, I just copied and pasted my resume from a sample online. That is hilarious. Okay, so I'm glad that helped. So let's move on to number 3. And number 3, a way that you are unintentionally misrepresenting yourself is you're talking more about what you do and not as much about what you've accomplished. Yes, it's fine to go to work each day and complete your job satisfactorily, but every recruiter wants to know how you were able to level up your role, level up your department, level up the company in some way. What did you make better because you were there? Did you process improve anything? Did you increase revenue for the organization? Did you decrease costs for the department? Did someone see leadership potential in you and tapped you for promotion? If yes, then make sure you talk about your accomplishments and the things that you've executed in your resume. And I tell people all the time, it's no different than how you find that when it rains, it pours. You can be single one day, but the moment that someone notices you, then 5 other people notice you too. There's something about knowing that the people in your organization liked you enough to recognize you for things that now that recruiter's like, oh, well, I want to know what this person is all about. So think about that. The number 4 way that we unintentionally misrepresent ourselves in our resume is that we do not talk enough about our competencies. And we need to do that. Use more high quality competencies on your resume, because competencies easily generate or demonstrate capability. You want your resume to ooze that you have capabilities. So here are some competencies that you can use immediately. Teamwork, you talk about that somewhere in your resume. Emotional intelligence, somewhere in your resume, you need to make sure that you mention that you're a thought leader, whether it's a company thought leader, a departmental thought leader, or an industry thought leader. Somewhere talk about decision-making, communication, forward thinking, your leadership, your results-oriented. You can talk about diversity as being a competency for you, problem-solving, innovative, the ability to influence, ethics, integrity. Talk about your capabilities, areas in which you are your strongest. That is very, very, very important. The number 5 way in which we unintentionally misrepresent ourselves in our resume is that we do not add all of our knowledge, or in other words, our education to our resume. And we don't sit it prominently in our resume. For some reason, someone along the way has told people to move your education all the way to the bottom. But you've invested a lot in your education. Move it to a very prominent place in your resume, because again, if a recruiter is only spending 7 seconds on your resume, you want to make sure that they know that you have the knowledge necessary to get the job done. And let's go back to adding our education to our resume. Add all of your education to your resume, whether or not it is relevant to the actual position that you're applying to, and whether or not it was completed. This is especially true if you have an advanced degree. The further along in your degree program you are able to make it, the better. You're working toward a degree where completed or relevant takes many competencies to get there. You want to indicate those competencies to the employer upfront. It takes a certain capability to get an advanced degree, or to get a degree in general, or to get certifications. And make sure that you're adding it in there, and let the recruiter or the hiring manager figure out whether it's relevant or not. You're just giving them a whole viewpoint of who you are. Now, number 6. The number 6 way where we unintentionally misrepresent ourselves is that We use job titles that no one understands and or that doesn't truly represent our job duties. And so remember, a recruiter is only spending 7 seconds reviewing a resume. This means that they're not going to take long trying to decipher what it is that you do for a living based on your job title. And I use this example quite often. One of my earlier jobs, my title was a director of people services. People within the company understood what a director of people services does, but people external to the organization will be like, what in the world is a director of people services? Which is no more than a director of human resources. So I needed to make sure that I made it as easy as possible, as easy speasy as possible for the recruiter or the employer to know that I'm a director of human resources. That one tweak alone will get recruiters reaching out to you because they're not going to try and decipher anything. Plus, we're also using job titles that may have once reflected the work we were hired to do, but because of the time that you've spent in the job, because of how great you performed on the job, you've gotten more and more job duties added on to your plate. Are you still doing what your current job title suggests that you do? Make sure that you pay attention to that. I find a lot of clients falling victim to that quite often. And number 7, we do not talk enough about how the company or the industry loves us. So in this number 7, we're talking about, what are you doing within your industry? And how can you make the industry actually brag on you? Are you speaking on panels to your subject matter expertise? Are you delivering presentations? Are you publishing white papers, receiving awards, sitting on boards? What are you doing external to your organization that's helping to feed into your expertise or feed into your ability to be a leader in this area? Industry recognition provides that one additional layer of knowledge, skills, and abilities that helps you to be way more competitive than others when you're applying to that exact same job. So let's go back through this really quickly because I want to make sure that you have a solid understanding. So we misrepresent ourselves because we're not using the power words. So I know you're going to go back and I know that you're going to use the power words. Number 2, I know that you're going to talk about what you own over what you do. Number 3, I know that you're going to talk about what you've accomplished over what you do. Number 4, I know that you are going to talk about your competencies. Number 5, I know that you are going to go back and add in all of your education. I know you're going to do that because you're a genius. Number 6, I know that you're going to use industry recognized job titles that is an accurate depiction of the work that you have today. And number 7, I know that you're going to talk about how the company and the industry loves you. Okay? So make sure that you do just that. Now, each resume submission should be specifically tailored to the job for which you are applying. A recruiter should be able to look at the job description and look at the job and see a fit with you because you're really answering in your resume, like they should easily see it, how you meet those basic qualifications. Did you know that? Now, let me find out who among our audience today sends the same version of their resume to every job they apply to. That's okay. Go ahead. I'll wait. Okay, so someone said, yikes. Another person said, I didn't know I was supposed to. Okay. And then me. Okay, I see those. So not all job descriptions are created equal. Each resume submission should be specifically customized to the job to which you're applying for. And that is a bonus to this too. Now, my goal is to help you to transition from a normal job seeker who's getting absolutely no traction to an offer magnet job seeker. And the first step to being an offer magnet job seeker is getting your resume right. Getting your resume right. So tell me in the chat box, Who is ready to be an offer magnet? Have you even thought about that notion before? Being like what it would feel like to actually be an offer magnet. Of course, me too. I am. Bring it on with the smiley face. Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you. Now, through my years in HR, earning my place as a recruiting thought leader, diversity practitioner, career success coach, all of that, I have uncovered the easiest path, or what some call the critical path, to being an offer magnet, which again begins with having a top-notch resume that will fully capture excuse me, the recruiter's attention. That is why we've developed the Recruiter Magnet Resume course. I'd like to tell you a little bit about it. Yes, here is the moment where I'm going to show you how you can work with me. So tell me in the chat box below if you're staying or if you're leaving. Okay? Tina, definitely staying. Okay, good. Ron, I'm in. Sandy, all in. Thank you for all caps, Sandy. Angela, question mark, I'll check it out. Okay, so I'm assuming that means you have a couple of questions, you're a little skeptical, but you're still going to check it out. Perfect. Keep them coming, guys. Okay, so the Recruiter Magnet Resume. So by the time, and this is how I like to talk to people, by the time you've completed the Recruiter Magnet Resume course, you'll be able to do three things. Number one, you'll be able to understand how recruiters think, how they review your resume, and how resumes are used during the hiring process. It's really important that you know that. Number two, you will be able to build your own master resume vault where you can pull from it in order to tailor your resume to jobs that you're applying to. And number three, you will be able to formulate a top-notch competitive resume from scratch using my exclusive Chia blueprint. Okay, I'm not going to go there, but it's my exclusive Chia blueprint. And on the right-hand side, I actually show you the course. Like, this is the course, and there's a lot that is chalk inside of this course for you. And so you're going to learn what to include in your contact information section. You are going to learn how to create a resume that's going to put you in the short pile, or what recruiters call, we're moving forward with this person, the move forward pile. We're going to talk about highlights of qualifications and why that's important to have on your resume and what they are. We're going to talk about best practices for really capturing the essence of your education in your resume. We're going to talk about how to best showcase your experience, and all of this is to get your resume to be top-notch, hands down top-notch. I have a program that's going on right now. I mentioned to you before the Offer Magnet Job Seeker, and we did one of our group coachings, and we had just made it through. We made it into module 2, and module 1 was all about getting your resume right. And I had several people say, Jennifer, I just made a couple of tweaks, and the moment I made those tweaks, recruiters started calling me. And I was like, of course they did. Recruiters, I'm showing you how to speak that recruiter's language up front. Now, this is just the Recruiter Magnet Resume course, but I want to make this special for you. I truly do. And so there are additional bonuses that we've added to this course that I also want to tell you about. Here's bonus number 1. Bonus number 1 is I want to give you our Recruiter Magnet LinkedIn profile guide. Remember, I told you that I've been consulting for LinkedIn, and we went through a new program with LinkedIn where they would send us premium clients, where we would tell them how to make their profile stand out. And my whole thing is your resume and your LinkedIn profile are your verbal narratives. These two items must be able to sell you. So we figured that if you need to get your resume right, you may as well also go and get your LinkedIn profile right too. And so we wanted to throw that in there. And so how this works, we want to be able to talk to you about how LinkedIn works and why your LinkedIn profile is important. We want to talk about the secret to an eye-catching profile photo, how to write a memorable headline, and I'm going to share with you my secret KOD method for generating a high impact LinkedIn headline. We're going to talk about how to do your LinkedIn summary through storytelling, because that's what gets noticed. I'm going to help you to storytell your way into a knock your socks off summary section. We're going to talk about leveraging your experience and your education and writing it in a way that gets you noticed. We're going to talk about how to get social proof of your expertise and endorsements, soliciting recommendations, sharing accomplishments. That sounds pretty good, right? But there's more. So this is just bonus number 1. And for this guide, most people will pay $197 just to get it. But this is a bonus that I'm throwing in because it's important. I'm throwing in a second really critical guide. I have this guide for you called Top 10 Ways Employers Make Assumptions About You Through Your Resume. And so again, this is another guide that's valued at $197. This is fantastic for women, people of color, the LGBTQ plus community, veterans, millennials, those over age 40, people with disabilities, so on and so forth. If you are a member of an underrepresented population, this guide dissects the answer to a $1 million question. Should I reveal in my resume that I'm a member of an underrepresented group? So this guide is chock full of insights on assumptions that can be made about you through what you share in your resume and how it can hurt you. It could hurt you, but how it could also help you too, if you do it in the right way with the right thinking around it. This guide is a guide that every job seeker should keep in their back pocket. And I can tell you that whenever I conduct a workshop, this is the number 1 question that I get from job seekers. And so, like those apps, I've got a guide for that. There's an app for that. There's a guide for that too. Now, I also want to, within this, the third bonus is a free resume lab and case study. I want to show you, we've been talking a little bit in this webinar about how we see ourselves and how that shows up in our resume. So I want to show you 3 different case studies of resumes. And I'm actually going to walk you through those resumes to show you what they look like. I'm going to talk to you about some of the challenges that the client had when they came to me, and then how we went from there to building a solid resume with them. So again, this can be great. Writing your resume based on how you see yourself can be great if your prism isn't clouded with common emotions like self-doubt or confusion about how you want to be seen. But in most instances, we do not see ourselves in the way in which we want others to view us, and it reflects in our resume. So this case study is going to show you the challenges faced by each client and how we turn this challenge around in order to get a top-notch resume. And the final bonus, which is actually 2 bonuses in one, is send me your resume. So for the first 10 people to sign up for this program, you're going to get a free resume review by me. I will tell you exactly what you need to do to specifically make your resume stand out among the pile. And this is typically a $700 value. And then once you've taken the course, we're hopping on the line where I'm answering each of your questions live. This isn't just for the first 10 people. This is for anyone who signs up for the group coaching, anyone who signs up for Recruiter Magnet Resume. You'll be a part of a bonus group coaching session where I'm going to start off answering some frequently asked questions, and then I'm going to take your questions one by one. And you're going to watch genuine career coaching happen live. And so I wanted to be able to throw that in here as well too. Man, that was a good course. I think about me back in 2006. Remember that picture from 2006? I wonder how things would have been different for me if I actually had a course like this at that time. So Don't sleep on this. Make sure that you check this out yourself as well too. I just want to show a few additional testimonials of people who have worked for me. I talked about Anne a little bit earlier. Anne had been at her job for 8 years. She was being overlooked time and time again. Her boss stayed on her back. I coached her through having courageous conversations, applying to stretch opportunities, and really getting her narrative that was a great depiction of who she was, that written narrative on her resume, getting that precise. And got her job. She got that dream job that she wanted. So I'm so happy about that for her. I talked a little bit earlier about my 50K client, the one who started off when we first connected, that she had just lost her job and she was making $40,000, and she wanted to pivot her career, get into a whole new avenue. She is blowing her own mind today with what she's capable of doing. And now she's in leadership, and she just bought the home of her dreams for her and her teenage son, which was a huge step for her. Remember, the way you show up in your career impacts the way you can show up in life. So I guess that added $50,000 to her base salary was exactly what she needed to make her overall dreams come true. So the next thing that I want to talk about is that together with my team, I've spent thousands of dollars developing these sophisticated job search tools and templates that go and the templates that go along with them. I typically charge to work with me per session, one-on-one, it's around $350 per session, and which is why I do those private career coaching sessions, usually with executives. And you don't want to know how much it actually costs to join my full-blown coaching program. Universities have paid thousands for me to present this information on resume workshops for their students, who are amazed to discover these insider secrets. The bonuses by themselves are worth nearly $1,800. But trust me, you won't have to pay anywhere near all of that. So to get the Recruiter Magnet Resume course, plus the 4 bonuses, which is the LinkedIn profile, the top 10 ways employers make assumptions about you, the free resume lab and case study, the resume review, plus the group coaching. All of that is way over $1,800, but you won't pay anything near that. Here is your investment. It's not the $1,800. Remember the bonus values. It's not even the standard price for the course, which is $297, but for a limited time, I'm taking $100 off of the sticker price. You can pay in full, or you can actually make 2 easy payments. I think that's important to know as well. And all of this is because I want you to take immediate, massive action on your life. That is the only way you're going to be able to go from where you are today to where you've always wanted to be. That is the only way that you're going to show up in life and career differently, is to take action now. Have you ever thought about what it costs to not take action? So I wanted to use this as an example for you. Let's say that you are in a job paying you $80,000 today, but you know that you have the knowledge, the skills, and the abilities to earn $100,000. As a matter of fact, you've actually seen some people earning $100,000 in the field, and you're like, how in the world did they get that job? It's not just about the $20,000 that you're leaving on the table today that hurts. Think over the next 10 years of your life. That's $200,000 that you're leaving on the table over the next 10 years. It is that serious, truly is. When recruiters do not call you back, there's a ripple effect in that. It begins making you question your worth. It makes you question your readiness for that next opportunity. It often makes you feel like there's something wrong with you. It can oftentimes make you want to quit. And that feeling of wanting to quit will make you stay where you are and not move forward. I tell people all the time that by the time clients come to me, we have to unravel a lot of that thinking that happens from the trial and error that they've spent in trying to go at something alone. So remember my philosophy. How you show up in your own life affects how you land in your career, and how you land in your career impacts the way you show up in your own life. So let me ask you, are you creating your resume based on how you see yourself? Show me your resume, and I can tell you how you feel about yourself and your ability to go to the next level. I wanted to talk about Danshell. Danshell pivoted her career and she landed her dream job. She's been working with me a lot as well too. And because she pivoted her career, we had to show a lot of transferable skills. And to get in showing those transferable skills, she had to believe that she had what it takes. And then she had to show that in her resume as well too. And it got her to where she is today. Precious reshaped her reputation, the one that she thought about herself and others of her, and she also used that to land a dynamic job. And again, she has, her whole personality is amazing. She should have been where she is today. She should have been there a very long time ago, but I'm glad that she is there today, and I loved watching the overall process happen with her. So now, enough of all of that. I want to answer a few questions. I don't want to keep us over too much, so I have a little bit of time to go through some questions. So make sure, go ahead, start putting those questions in there right now, because I want to answer them for you. All right, so I'll give it a second as you guys are thinking through some of your own questions, and then I'll answer them for you. Okay, so we have Anna. She said, I have jobs at the moment, and I have a job at the moment, and it's very hard for me to go through online training because I have limited time during the week. Okay, so I think your question is about timing. One of the things that I did want to let you all know about this course is that it gives the advantage of a self-paced course. So you'll have lifetime access to this course, and you can finish the lesson on your own time. You essentially dictate the speed of the transformation of your resume and your readiness for the job search. So, if you may actually have more time on the weekend instead of trying to do the course during the week. So take advantage of that free time to go to the course, to go through the course content then. Okay, I hope that helped. Jimmy, I work as a traveling nurse and I have some 12-hour days. What will happen if I miss the group coaching? Okay, all right, great question. Thank you guys for keeping these good questions coming. Okay, so as soon as you sign up for the course, Jimmy, you're going to get a series of notifications that tells you the date and the time that we're going to schedule that live group coaching session. If for any reason you can't make it, just know that it's going to be recorded, and we'll upload that recording into the actual course so that you can go back and you can access that. Also, within the course, you can leave comments, and if your comments mean that you have questions and things of that nature, I always go back in and answer those questions too. I love starting dialogues just through the different lessons in the course. I hope that answers your question, and that's all the time we have, folks. I sincerely appreciate you for sticking it through all the way until the end. Thank you again for allowing me to share these 7 quick fix strategies to supercharge your resume. Good luck on your job search.